In conflict between Iran and Israel.
No politics can stop progress, it can only slow it down.
The main focus for me is oil, the Strait of Hormuz. This sea passage is the only sea passage, goes 20% of the global oil trade export goes past through this strait. So that's why if they close it, and it will bring back inflation, that's when gold, maybe it can go to 4,000.
I saw this meme of like Kim Jong-un when people are having a war and like you're not invited.
He's left out.
Yeah. Welcome back to the DXpert Podcast, where we break down financial trends, emerging tech, and market shifts that shape the world we live in. I'm Janu. Joining me today are two sharp voices from the world of finance. We have Jiun and Assadour, both our in-house analysts. And in this episode, we'll be diving into two very different headlines making waves. First up, the messy feud between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Then we'll pivot to the escalating conflict between Iran and Israel. With real-time missile strikes and geopolitical shockwaves, we'll unpack what this means for oil prices, safe haven flows, and broader market risks. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. All right, the Elon-Trump X spat got heated again in early June, with Musk calling for Trump's impeachment and joking about the Epstein files, followed by Trump's threatening to revoke Tesla and SpaceX contracts. How might this renewed hostility signal political risk for Musk companies? And could it heighten regulatory uncertainty affecting Tesla stocks or SpaceX funding?
No politics can stop progress, it can only slow it down. Even with or without this feud, regulatory progress is still slow. FSD has been around for a very long time. Waymo has been running their robotaxis for a very long time. But then for Tesla, even though their crash ratings is way lower than Waymo, but then somehow it still doesn't get approved. Yeah, but hopefully we can see it very soon. Yeah, by the time we are recording this podcast, they have not approved it yet. But then at least Tesla is now listed on NHTSA's website. But then they are just doing a test. Yeah. But then anyway, whatever quarrel between two big names, very powerful people, still you can't stop progress. Yeah. So even if he wants to do it, I don't think so.
Yeah, like the impact, as he said, it's short term. Everything is narrative based. The impact on the stock we're talking about is short term. And we have to think long term.
Yeah.
The robotaxi, for example, but even longer term, the Optimus robots, and the AI involvement. So I don't think there's any risk, at least in the short term, on the Tesla stock or the company itself, because this feud that happened, people then can disagree a lot every day with each other. That doesn't mean...
I think it's just a normal thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just that they're brought up in social media, so it looks like a big thing. And
social media make things worse.
Yeah, exactly.
What it is.
It amplifies everything.
Yeah.
Social media amplifies everything.
Yes.
So, if you're an investor, don't get shocked with just about anything.
It's buying dips for me,
Yeah.
These things are just buying dips for me.
Yeah, and like hearing what you guys are saying, like traders are really optimistic. Like you guys do not get bugged by these type of headlines much. You know that it's just social media doing its thing, and it's not a long-term thing.
No.
So that's interesting. So Musk later issued an apology, right? They went too far. Yeah.
Because maybe he went too far, but
they went too far and then restored some calm.
Yeah.
So can this quick retraction stem Tesla's 14% plunge tied directly to the feud? Because there was a plunge that happened after the feud, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was short term, but are investors now pricing in a persistent political volatility tax on Musk-led?
I think whatever that comes from that feud, I'm looking at the charts right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that huge gigantic candle from that day, it has recovered the entire candle. So in other words, the market doesn't really care anymore.
Doesn't care.
Yeah. Right now, they are just waiting for robotaxi to come up and see whether, whatever that Elon Musk promised has finally come to life.
Exactly, yeah.
What's the progress on that? Let's talk about robotaxi for a moment.
Right now, Elon Musk has said that it will launch on 22nd June, and the submission to NHTSA is on 19 June. But looking over the long term, the way robotaxi is being designed and the software that is being designed is designed to be insanely scalable.
Okay.
Yeah, as compared to, Waymo's or any other autonomous vehicle that is on the road right now. They are actually using LiDAR, some very expensive tech. Yeah, but Tesla is doing it in a different way. They are using AI. If you remember, there's in a presentation by Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, he talked about, the progress of AI is gonna grow almost 1 million times, as in the which it grows is like, 1 million times. Yeah. So by Tesla using AI, they have that Dojo supercomputer to train all the videos that they have or whatever inputs that's coming from all the cars around the world. The speed at which they are training that supercomputer is insanely fast. Yeah. And with their new setup, it's twice as fast as the previous version.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going very fast. And recently, there's also a report by Bloomberg where it states that they are actually comparing the safety of Tesla's robotaxi and as in FSD and Waymo and humans.
Wow.
Yeah. So the crash rate for a Tesla is 0.12 every 1 million miles.
Oh.
And Waymo is slightly higher. I think it's 0.67 or something like that. Yeah, around there. And then human is way higher. Yeah. So it's already very low. The safety rate is already there, but somehow the regulation is still not there yet. Regulation is always playing a catch-up game here.
For real. Like that's the thing that would be the cause of, the dragging,
Yeah. Even, FSD is not activated in the Europe yet for now. Yeah. Even though the crash rating is
really low.
Very low, but somehow it's still not activated. It's not approved in the EU somehow. Yeah.
Interesting.
So Pony.ai, they have a very similar tech to Tesla. I think right now the robotaxi tech, they are going in a hybrid way. So what it means is that the ones that is on the road in the US right now, they are using LiDAR and very expensive sensors and also geofencing, a very detailed HD map. But whatever Tesla is doing right now, they are also mapping, but not as high res as whatever that Waymo is using, because they probably don't really need it. They are doing it just to make sure that everything works well, just to get that regulation to move on. Yeah. So even with Pony.ai in China, they are also doing this. So it's a combination between sensors, vision, and a little bit of geofencing. And Pony.ai and other robotaxis in China, they have been there for a very long time.
Exactly. It's not something new. China has been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
I've seen videos, people taking the robotaxi.
And the adoption in China, the population adoption is around 31% as compared to the US is only 11%. I guess most probably because they have not seen, because regulation has not approved anything yet. So probably the confidence is not there because they can't see it, they can't touch it, they can't try it. But over in China, they can actually use it and they have been using it for a long time.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're used to. I think China is more open to innovation, advancements, and
it's still in certain areas, designated areas. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, shifting gears to the Middle East. Well, Iran launched roughly 150 missiles and 100 drones at Israel on June 13, prompting intense Israeli airstrikes on Tehran's nuclear and missile sites. Now, let me not get into the politics. Let me drag it back to the markets. How are commodity markets, especially oil, defense, and precious metals, responding to this escalation?
Can we go into
Okay, you
politics?
can go a little
Say
politics.
go to 4,000. Continue. Yeah.
Well, there's a risk. Go to 4,000, but most importantly is the oil. The impact of this war is, the main focus for me is oil, whether it can reach 100 or beyond $100 a barrel or not. The main reason for that is because the Strait of Hormuz. This sea passage is the only sea passage that goes like 20% of the global oil trade export pass through this strait. So that's why if they close it, because it's in Iran's hand, if they close it, that will be a very strong catalyst for oil to go to 100 and even beyond. And the more pressure you put politically and militarily on Iran, eventually I think they're going to do this, because if they start losing power,
they have to.
If they don't have anything to lose, they would do it. And this will disrupt the whole market. And it will bring back inflation. That's when gold, maybe it can go to 4,000. Now we see gold is not like, there's no bid on it, still. In fact, it's a bit losing, going down. And the focus is on oil. Oil already spiked from 65 to 75. And it's right under a very important, technically speaking, resistance. Above 80, let's say, we can see 100 easily. And politically, the trigger will be if the US joins, because every minute, every second, there's new news coming out, developments, what's going to happen, what's happening. The recent thing that I've read is US is thinking of joining Israel in this war. And this is a big step.
It is.
Because it reminds us what happened in Iraq. The whole point that they went into Iraq, they said that they have the nuclear capabilities and weapons of mass destruction. They went into Iraq and they saw they had nothing. It was a hunch, let's say, not a lie.
Sure.
So the same thing is happening right now in Iran. They say they have, or they're going to have nuclear bomb. They were very close, but they've been saying this since 1999. We're not going to call names here, but they've been saying this since 1999, that Iran is close to develop a nuclear bomb in 2 or 3 years. It's been like 20 years, 25 years. And now they said like it's a few days or a few weeks. So we had to, so that's why they had to strike on Iran.
But isn't the one that they bomb in the first place is a nuclear something?
It's a research, and it's not nuclear bomb. With nuclear uranium, you can do a lot of stuff. And the fact is that Tulsi Gabbard, the US intelligence director, she said in March that they have no evidence that Iran is developing nuclear bomb. There's a big difference, Yes, they're enriching uranium for other reasons and research, but not nuclear bomb. And this was in March. And in June, after a few months, they strike and they said that they're developing a bomb. It doesn't happen overnight, And it's not a good sign what's happening now, because if US joins, it will, I don't know, politically speaking, I don't know if Russia and China can lose Iran as an ally, because Iran is a very important ally geopolitically and economically, and even for oil, because China imports a lot of oil from Iran. So it's an important ally. So they can't just go and lose the war. No. So this will push them maybe to join, at least not a world war, but at least it's a cold war, because they will give them the arms to defend themselves against US or Israel. Same thing US is doing for Israel. Like Israel has nothing without the US.
That's true.
Yeah. So...
But Iran doesn't want to escalate this.
Of course, Iran doesn't want to escalate. Iran didn't attack first. Israel attacked first. So, of course, they don't want this war. And they know that Israel is superior, especially in the air. And we're seeing every day what's happening. So why go to war with an enemy, he's superior, in the air. So yeah, it's complicated. But for oil, if the US joins officially, I think oil will go to 100.
Yes, I think if they join, the whole world is gonna be so scared.
Oh yeah,
And imagination is gonna just fly
a lot
everywhere.
of calculations right now is happening
yeah.
with China and Russia. They're thinking, should we join? Should we not join? Should we help them? We can't help them. And already Russia has not.
Did you see the one where North Korea wanted to join? Wanted to help Iran.
Yeah, because they're allies.
No, I saw
North Korea is already helping Russia in the war.
I saw this meme of like Kim Jong-un just sitting there, like sad. They're like when people are having a war and like you're not invited.
He's left out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not gonna laugh about him. It's just a meme. It's just a meme.
Yeah. So definitely getting very messy and very sudden.
messy.
Everything happened really fast.
Yeah,
It's always like
just few
that
days,
for
like
some
1 week.
reason. Yeah.
One
Just
week.
curious, like, is there anything to do with Hezbollah? Because Iran, there was one time Iran strike Israel is because of Israel attack on Hezbollah. So this time it was all about that nuclear thing.
Yeah, Hezbollah now is kind of defeated.
Oh,
you
really? Okay.
Yeah, like maybe kind of defeated, and Lebanon has finally a president because Lebanon didn't have a president,
it's
so
a good
Hezbollah
update.
was just
Okay.
choosing from their side and from Iran's. Now they have a president and they have a government, so they're trying to dismantle all the arms and take the arms
Okay.
off from the Hezbollah. So that's why the Hezbollah for now is not a threat anymore. And in Palestine, the Hamas, obviously, like they're not in so much power now because of what happened during these past 2 years. So what's left for them is Iran. They need to take out Iran so they can be relieved. That's their narrative.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why they're attacking Iran right now. But Iran is not like Hezbollah or Hamas. Iran is a very big country with 90 plus million people, So you can't just joke around. And it has a lot of big allies, superpower allies. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go back to like
Go back.
the strait that you mentioned.
Strait of
earlier.
Hormuz.
Yes, Hormuz. Yeah. So oil price spiked around like mid-June amid the direct strikes on energy infrastructure and the threat to close the Strait of Hormuz.
Yesterday, there was some threat, like rumors, reports. And we saw like 2 tanker ships on fire on the Strait of Hormuz. We don't know. I don't know exactly why. It's not like I don't know anyone
Who's
fired at them. No, but just the thought of something happening around that area, it will spike oil prices. If they officially say we're gonna close it, we're gonna see 100 in 1 day, from 75 to 100 in 1 day. Yeah.
What does this like tug of war, like whatever is going on right now, mean for? I mean, you did touch on that a little bit earlier, but what does it mean for inflation, central bank policy, and energy equities like going forward?
That's why I think Trump will have to intervene peacefully and resolve this peacefully, because Trump doesn't want inflation.
Yeah.
His whole point is to bring down oil prices and inflation, because if oil goes up, everything goes up. It's a chain reaction. So he doesn't want this. A part of him doesn't want this. So maybe either he wants to make it very quick, end it very quick, even with power, with military action, or peaceful action. He doesn't want this to become the next Iraq and go on prolong the war for years and years.
Yeah.
It's not good for him and for his image. And he can be impeached because people voted for him because he's a peacemaker.
Yeah.
Yes. So from his first few months, he's making he doesn't want to go into war with Iran, especially.
But Trump never supported war. Even for Iraq, he never supported it as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Before if you see his tweets before he was a president or a candidate, he was very against all the war in the Middle East. But now he's forced because you're not
But
gonna
wasn't
into
US supporting Israel with the whole?
Supporting with weapons and they themselves going in is a different
Isn't that the
case.
It's
same
different.
with
No, it's
supporting
different.
war?
Yeah, of course, supporting. Yeah,
One is helping your ally.
Yeah.
Another one is you going into the war yourself.
It's a very gray area.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Let's just
yeah,
say
of
that.
course.
Because for Iraq, they are actually going in by themselves. But for Israel, no, just supplying weapons,
yeah.
giving some strategy.
Just giving you some bullets here and there.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Exactly, just like Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Fair.
NATO versus
Russia,
Ukraine. It's
yeah.
not Russia versus Ukraine.
True.
It's the whole
Russia and
NATO.
Iran as well.
Yeah.
Russia and Iran, Russia and North, NK.
Yeah, of course. Now, Russia can supply Iran arms eventually. Not now. They're not doing it now because for now they don't need it. Eventually
Yeah.
they're gonna supply.
Yeah. All right. Now to wrap up, let's bring it back to traditional finance a little bit.
Yep.
How are you both reading into the US stock market right now? How is gold doing?
The market, like usually if you see the chart and the pattern, every time there's a war in the Middle East, the market doesn't care.
Because they are so used to it already.
Yeah.
There's always conflict there.
And war is good for money and for business,
Yeah.
for them, for the market.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stocks gain, like defensive stocks, military defensive.
Military companies, drone companies,
Oh, yeah,
AI
exactly.
companies, they're supporting defense.
Unfortunately,
Palantir.
war is good for.
Yeah. And Palantir
business.
just made new high.
Exactly. For the market, it's bullish. Nothing scary
But
for
have
now.
to be selective.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like the S&P, still around 6,000. It's not breaking to new all-time highs, but it's because like what's happening, they're wait and see mode.
But I think whatever that's happening right now, as in the markets, they are already quite used to it. If some big countries join in, then that's a different case.
Yeah.
Then
If
that's a
the
different
US
case.
joins, maybe short term we can see like volatility.
Yeah. Or else it's gonna, just like, the feud between Elon Musk and Trump.
Yeah.
A few countries
Exactly.
in that region, a few bombs here, a few bombs there.
Yeah.
For gold and silver, the metals.
Yeah.
I think I'm still bullish on it, regardless what's happening. It's not like gold is gonna go to 4,000 because of the war.
Yeah.
It's because mainly.
But it will get
interest
supported
rates.
anyway. It will get supported.
Yeah, it's a good catalyst
So,
for sure.
yeah.
But the main reason is the interest rate cuts that the market is looking forward to it. Not necessarily now, but in a few months. If there's no inflation, the Fed has to cut rates. That would push gold even higher. Maybe around 4,000 we see the top, and finally we end this trend.
4,000, okay.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Alrighty. You don't know.
No
he
one
doesn't
knows.
know,
We're
guys.
just speculating.
All right. Okay. Anything else you guys want to cover before we end this episode?
No, I guess.
I think still the same tone as whatever we discussed in the last podcast. It's just be selective with your whichever stock that you are buying, because not all of them have a very strong trend right now. It's a very selective one. And of course, gold is still being supported. The trend is still there since a very long time ago, many months back. And I think our projection, at least Assadour's projection of 4,000, I think we are still on the way there.
Yeah.
Probably one day we will reach there. Yeah.
We need the break of 3,500 to confirm the next leg up.
Yes, and it needs a very strong catalyst to do that.
Yeah, we
But
need
at least,
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the trend is going to change anytime.
Yeah.
No, not yet. No, not
Just
yet.
going
At least
slow
not
and
for now.
steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least not for now.
Especially
Alright.
silver is breaking out also. It's
Yeah.
catching up with all gold.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign also for the metals.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see.
Yeah. So if you want to know when, we're gonna break 3.5,
3,500. Yes.
3,005, you gotta keep watching.
Yes.
So to find out
And reading the articles.
and reading the articles.
Wait for the next catalyst.
All right. So Assadour and Jiun, thank you so much for breaking
you.
down the global implications so clearly. Always appreciate your sharp read on market
Our
signals.
pleasure.
That's it for today's episode. If you found this discussion valuable, hit that follow button and stay tuned. There's always more coming your way. Until next time, stay informed, stay ahead, stay curious, and we'll catch you in the next one.